right after us. How do we treat the environment so it can continue to sustain you and I to keep doing good? Like the cartoon said, how did you make a man cave in this research? Was that considered for in the grant? Yeah, so sometimes we deviate from the destination because there is no ethics. That's why you can make a man cave in your research when it wasn't budgeted for. So sharp practices and unethical practices in the chemical sciences is what we care about when we're dealing with principle. So integrity and honesty in data collection and in data reporting. How do we approach human and environmental safety? Is it safe for you, for family, for colleagues? So the safety may not be just about us, the chemists, it may be about everybody. Respect for intellectual property, openness and transparency so that our data can be trusted and impact can be wider in reach. Fairness in collaboration and authorship. I remember going to a media house to cover my event, chemistry event. I was talking about the code of ethics in chemistry. And then they were calling a lot of money for me to get the media to give voice to our work. And then I talked to this director, the regional director of the media agency, and he wasn't listening. I'm a scientist. He said, no, he's not a scientist. It doesn't concern him. So I told him our audience will be the professional, chemistry professionals and chemistry practitioners. He said, I belong to none. I'm not a practitioner. I'm not a professional. So I was so worried. But with experience, I can't. I was looking at him. I saw a shoe polish beside the table, and I looked at it. It's been laying there for a while. It wasn't covered. So I asked him, excuse me, is that a shoe polish? And he said yes. So I started telling him about volatile organic compounds that come out from the shoe polish when they are not covered. He got interested. I told him about the toluene. I told him about naphtha. I tried to make a relationship with respiratory problems, nerve problems. I asked him, do you sometimes feel dizzy? He said, yes. I said, this place is stuffy. Not even circulation of the air. So these give the higher tendency for you to uptake the volatile. He got interested and he approved free of charge, and my event got covered. So you can see that we need to collaborate and we need to be transparent in our practice of chemistry to grow trust. People talk about fabrication. This gentleman here, this one said, oh, I only do fabrication. This one said, I only do falsification, I don't plagiarize. This one saying, I do plagiarize. I don't fabricate data, I don't falsify, but they are all guilty of what we're talking about in chemistry when we're dealing with ethics. Without any of the FFPs, they are equally big. Fabrication, falsification, plagiarism. How well are we using people's data? Glad previous speakers were citing sources of their data. So if anything should go wrong, we know people to hold responsible. And if it's great, yes, people to get the thing, to get the congratulations, you have really done well. So we should learn to practice chemistry with all of this, the environmental negligence in the practice of chemistry. How do you handle our solvents? Do we try to reduce? Do we try to reuse? So that we can use less of this and cause less harm to the environment. What of the undue political or corporate influence on our outcomes? How well do we negotiate? How well do we engage with policy makers? Bringing data, evidence-informed decision-making so they can put less pressure on we, the chemists, in manipulating what we get to align with the government expectation. What are the funders' priorities? All of these have ethical considerations to look at. We had a research sponsored by the American Chemical Society, and in this research that we use a mixed method approach doing very advanced literature survey and case study analysis. We found ugly practices like this in the laboratory. You can see some chemicals that were just weapons waiting to explode. Many of them were expired on the shelves. and people were not practicing ethically how to store chemicals, how to arrange them in stacks, and some of the wood were swollen, ready to drop. And then chemical reaction, explosion, and some were washed down the drains without plan for management of the waste. So we made interviews. We found in the ranking that the misconduct was very high. So across a lot of institutions that we engage in, not only the academia or academic institutions, but even in government agencies dealing with chemicals, like those that are regulatory, in their assignments, it was really very disturbing. So we found that chemistry, ethics education is very sparse, because our case study was low and middle income countries. We found that environmental ethics is underemphasized even by the teachers of chemistry. That's why chemistry education practitioners need to up their games. And we found weak institutional support, even in the review. Some of the policies around the chemistry ethics were expired already, would have been reviewed. And we can leverage on success stories that give institutional frameworks to ethics in the chemical sciences, like that of the IUPAC, to make progress. So we recommend that we incorporate ethics in STEM education, including the chemistry, which is part of the STEM science, technology, engineering, mathematics. Even the next medicine, we also use chemicals there, and empowerment of bodies and all of that. Develop contextual ethical guidelines that must be well introduced to users of chemistry and professionals. Encourage collaborative policy making, like I gave examples in the past. Collaborative, and maybe imbibe in the triple helix model, where the industry actors, the academia, and government, policymakers, can be in same network, so that when we're making our research design, we're having at the back of the mind users of the chemicals, and then we're having the government that are making always the regulations around how we practice chemistry. And then monitoring is also very important. So I conclude by saying that ethics ensures integrity from such case studies I have brought to the table, and credibility of our practice is also guaranteed when we practice ethically. It supports public trust and long-term societal benefit, because why do we want to practice chemistry? After all, we want to bring the public good. We want to continue to hold the power to change the world for the better. So I charge all of us to commit to embedding ethics at the heart of our scientific inquiry, especially the chemical sciences. So I'm grateful to all of you for your kind attention.
Thank you. Any question from the floor? So maybe I ask one question. So because when talking about ethics, so one concern for chemistry in particular is the safety, that the slide that you mentioned. So because a lot of the students, or particular Asian students, they want to do it quickly and they forfeit the safety aspect. So like, what would be the recommendation?
Yeah, so we experience that a lot in our practice of chemistry. A lot of students, they think it's time waster. They want to get quickly. But if we entrench a culture, a safety culture, that makes people think safety, starting from us. Some of us do store chemicals in our offices. When we buy them, they're expensive, we put it behind the cupboard. So you will not, the culture is not there. So we leave what we want them to do. We also, when they call us, oh, I'm having this experiment, I don't know, something is going wrong, I'll observe a color change, it wasn't supposed to be there. You just walk into the laboratory without wearing your lab coat, without wearing your safety. So you telling them it doesn't matter. So we should first be the safety ones to see in on this. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, is there any more question? Okay, so if not, then we conclude our section and thank all our speakers and thank Dr. Nwaichi again.